Evening, everyone, and welcome to TMA Sunday Night Live. This is the Pidge, and I'm joined by, as usual, this young man. He is a young man, Daniel Dean, Mr. Aidan.
I made it.
The sexiest man alive. And also, I'm glad to say, a Wembley hero, a Watford, absolute stone-wall Watford legend, Mr. Allan Smart. Evening, sir. Thank you very much, mate. Absolute pleasure to have you on. Guys, just remember, we will talk about Chelsea first from this afternoon's game, and also around 8 o'clock we'll hopefully very kindly get some questions through to Alan, and also talk about his career and what you're up to now, and your climb coming up as well, Kilimanjaro thing as well. So evening, everyone. So get your opinions through. Just remember, your podcast, your opinions, and let's get talking. Right, guys, Chelsea.
It's pretty much been the talk of our season so far. Take your chances. That's what we didn't do in the first half, and it just killed us. Chelsea come flying out the blocks the second half, and we near enough gave the exact same goal away. We conceded the corner, they scored. What happens about 30 seconds later? We concede the corner, they score. And that completely kills the game for us.
Yeah.
And when we went 2-0 down, I was like, all right, it's time to make a change.
Yeah.
Bring on Gray or bring on Success. We'd rather Gray than Success for how the form has been lately. But he left it till, the 83rd minute to bring on Gray and Success. And it was like, if we were going to get anything out of that game, then those subs had to be much, much sooner. Yeah, Cleverley came on. I cannot remember who came off. But yeah, it was Chalobah.
So got a good applause from the Chelsea fans by all accounts.
Yeah,
they did as well. They got a good reception.
There was a few of them standing up, but most of them sat down. But one way or the other, they gave them a good reception coming off the pitch, which I like to see. But then Cleverley didn't really do much in the game. It was just all Chelsea after the second goal, and they could have absolutely smashed us even more. But lucky enough, they didn't. But it's just the story of our season. Take your chances.
What have you, from what you've seen of Watford this season? What's your general summing up about how we
quite enjoyed watching them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Compared to previous seasons, I think you know, and it's not like a bitter ex footballer or anything like that. I thought they lacked a bit of commitment. Where Materazzi's teams was a bit boring, but it was like watching the Italian stuff when Gascoigne first went out to Italy. It was a really boring style of football. I thought the fans were getting sold short. And as I met a few ex-players and were saying there's not a lot of commitment on that pitch, or it doesn't appear to be.
Yeah.
Whereas the team now, it's quite an entertaining team. You know, if it turns up and it's about it, and that's the thing. If it turns up, that team could beat anybody on its day.
Yeah.
Because you've got a cutting edge, decent defenders, good experience down the spine. I think if you're going into a cup final, you're thinking, well, you got. In the last 20 years or whatever, you've got to have as good a chance as anything with that team, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Compared to the team you played in the Premier League, compared to this one, what are the fundamental differences, do you believe?
They probably don't go out.
No,
I think the fundamental differences. I think the tweak of the rules maybe changed the commitment that's on the pitch.
Yeah.
I would say, if I was looking at the midfield specifically, I think the midfield team that we had with Johnson, Micah and Peter Kennedy was a really good blend. I thought there was I thought the engine room there was very, very good. I think the games it's just totally changed. The slighter, the smaller, the thinner. It's more athleticism, which is good for a forward sort of players.
True.
They look quite a fit team, to be honest. I think that's the one thing that stands out. I think we were quite a fit team as well. I would say that our team was just very, very committed. So, man, there was an honesty in the dressing room. I think this team is maybe got a bit more talent, a bit more individuals, a bit more flair.
Yeah.
You know, and that's credit to the management staff, the owners of getting lads in there that can entertain you and get bums off seats.
Yeah, no, that's quite
Yeah,
fair
no,
assessment.
that's right,
Pretty much nailed on.
Your team was probably a little bit better at defending as well, you know, midfield sort of way.
Very
I
old
like Pereira, but he don't do enough.
But more of an old
Dirty
school,
work
wasn't
for
it?
me,
More of an
yeah,
old school
yeah.
defending with you guys than compared to
More
now.
dirty work.
But we have got good defenders. It's just I think
Yeah.
more of a unit, defensive unit. I thought we were better back in the day than. Like, so I think you hit the nail on the head with the flair. There's that bit more quality.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's it. I think you probably, if you look at the fundamental difference, they're multi-millionaires. To put it bluntly, so that makes a big difference.
It sort of helps a little bit, doesn't it? A little bit more.
But no, and I think that's it. I think the club are into that top echelon now. You know, you're talking about Watford being a top 10 club.
Yeah.
When I was there, the aspirations were to be a top 30 club. So if you were a top 30 club, you'd always be in and around. Now, I think realistically, next year you will be saying that at the start of this season you've been happy with top half. Where's it go? The bar just keeps rising, but they look as if they're up for the challenge. They are an established Premier League club. There's a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it now. We're selling out £18.5 million on strikers. I mean, back when Allan was playing, I was getting excited when we got near £500,000.
Yeah,
it was
it
like,
was
whoa, steady on, lads. This is going to break our transfer record before we know it. But as stupid as it sounds, that wasn't like Hyder was like 1.1 million, 1.2. You know, that was big money for us.
Yeah.
And Xavi Gravelane as well. He was no Allan Smart, but
Gravelane, jeez.
That is a player.
it's a shame because he
That was an in and out.
slightly we realised where we were. That's what we heard the story. I know you know much better than we do. That's what as fans we thought as soon as he heard where we were. Not personally hate him or anything. I just thought, you know, you sort of got a sniff of, oh, hang on a moment, they're a Premier League side, but they're not exactly Arsenal. And then sort of went, okay, I might not stick around here much often, but
I think maybe when Kenny told him to do one and get on a flight and fuck off, that might be what did it.
that might have just sort of eased it.
Andy was
eased it
right,
on
and he
there.
had an army of men behind him telling him, "You better get yourself back in." He was just tools down him. You know, some players that you come across, and he was at the end of his career, and he was looking for a payday, I think, and you know, you look at it like Alan Nielsen and people like that. He couldn't pay that bloke enough. He was an absolute gent, true professional.
He was a good player.
Yeah, he was good in the dressing room as well, though. And I think, and fair play, the gaffer had a decision to make. He had to throw his dice, and you know, and Gravelin he had a punt on him. That's exactly what it was. It was a punt.
It was a
So
bit like the Gongi, wasn't it?
What happens with a punt? Flipping the coin. Might be good, might not be. There was no love lost. There was no animosity. It was just one of them. You went for us, see you later. And that happened in Portugal when we were away. I think sort of January time. I think he just tools down. He just wasn't wanting to do it. So see you later.
So, but that was similar to Ngongi because that was a punt on video evidence, wasn't it? Back in when you signed as well. But with you and Nicky Wright, as much as we didn't have much knowledge of you, I mean, we knew the hell of these guys because we knew Carlisle with likes of Matt Jansen. You know, we heard of you and Nicky Wright, but not in the same breath as Jansen because Jansen was the one at the time that was being linked with Blackburn and stuff. And then we came to you and Ngongi and, you know, Nicky Wright signing. We're sort of thinking, hang on, but we obviously trust Graham's judgment because look, what signings you guys
I think you've been polite. I think you've been polite, and it's nice that you have been polite. I don't think anybody would have known who me and Righty were, and I think Yanni had attracted a lot of attention. It wasn't just Blackburn. I mean, Man United. He'd gone down to Man United for a week. He'd gone to Bayern Munich as well. There was big clubs watching him because I think he'd come on the scene at about 18, 19. Myself and him had sort of played the first 6 or 8 games of the season that you guys won at Fulham. And he's come up to Carlisle, myself and Yanni. I only played about 7 games that year. I had a broken ankle and had a right garbage season, to be fair. And I played against, the only team I played against was Watford home and away. and we played quite well. The performances were good. The results weren't, but the performances were good. And they sort of pieced it together how they'd arrived at signing us. So
yeah.
But I think you are being polite when you're saying that you trusted his judgment. I don't think anybody trusted his judgment with me and Righty.
Most of us. I mean, one thing I could say with myself, I knew the division with the players. And it sort of helped me playing Championship Manager as well at the time. But no, I knew back then when we were in the second division, I made damn sure when I was supported and I saw certain players, I was looking at thinking I knew you, the French lad who was in midfield. I can't pronounce his name. Matt Jansen, you, Nicky Wright. That's the one. Yeah, I knew you four at Carlisle. But when you two signed, it was like, oh, okay, you see how they do. You know, Michelle was the same.
I think also on the level that he paid, I don't think, and that's what he did quite well. Was it 250 grand for me and Righty? So really, on the level, it's not a big commitment. It really isn't. So from that point of view, he's given someone. I think he interviewed me, and he sort of done it on a pretense that I was coming down on a trial, and he was just testing the water with me.
Yeah.
And he said that to me. Just wanted to see what your reaction was and see what you were about, because I know that you've got 2 or 3 sort of other clubs. I think Swindon,
Northampton as well, wasn't it?
Swindon, Northampton. Yeah. There's a couple of clubs, and Northampton had gone into the playoffs. They were looking like they were probably going to come into the top division. So there was 3 or 4, Leighton Orient, but none of them at the level. And then when I had the gaffer was interested, there's nowhere else you would want to go if you're a football man.
Yeah.
Did you play in that Swindon game? We went to that, didn't we? I scored, didn't you? 4-1 away. You come with me. Beat 4-1.
What's 4-1 when it's McMahon's last game?
I scored 2 that day.
You did, yeah. I remember going there. That was a great game.
Yeah.
Because we went 1-0 down, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. We were. Yeah,
then George and Dar scored. George and Dar scored that goal.
I mean, it's a decent squad, Swindon squad, to be fair.
We smashed.
That shows our commitment.
Because I think that was Righty's first goal.
Was it his first goal? Yeah, I remember we dominated that.
And I remember, I can't remember. Righty will probably know more than me. I'm sure he got a bit of a. He got right into him at half time.
Yeah.
Righty. I'm sure he did. Now I don't know if he scored just after half time or what, but we weren't in the game. We weren't doing very well, I think, early on, but actually
come out a bit more bite, didn't you?
Yeah, we really put them to the sword with that.
Yeah.
Just look fitness wise, I think you beat them in that, really. Energy and
you were 2 honest players. Yeah. You were honest players. You and Righty. That's one thing we got from you.
Oh yeah.
Good. We had a little bit of extra after that.
I think that's what's different though. I think that's maybe what I sit there in the stand and I think, whatever limitations you have as a footballer, you think, you can try and put it about and try, and that's where I think some of them look like their kits are not even sweating or wet or just hang it up. It must be a dream to be the kit lady in some of these Premier League.
Could wear it again next game.
Because they don't look as if there's a lot of graft getting done in these shots.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think your eyes don't lie to you. Manchester United are not running for the manager.
No. And
you don't have to see what the stats are.
Yeah. And
then it obviously transpires that they are doing the least amount. They look a lazy team.
Oh God, I watched them today again, don't
you? Ray saying Scotland are looking for a new manager, Alan, by the way. Throw your name officially in the frame. Yeah.
Well, I like Gordon Strachan's teams, I've got to say. I liked his teams.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit disappointed that he still isn't in charge.
Yeah.
Because for the same reason, I thought his teams were quite honest. And if you were getting beat, you were getting beat with a good effort. There was a good honesty about it. I thought Levine's teams were garbage. I hated watching his teams, and Alec, sadly, I just didn't enjoy the way he set his teams up. And I think the result, and I can't even tell you where it's at.
You can't even beat Borat's favourite side.
Yeah, I've got a nice photograph of Borat.
That's just few
when you're in England, and you can't get a result against Kazakhstan, or you just go into hiding for a couple of days.
Yeah, a few of our Scottish mates did go quiet, especially after the ribbon we got after Iceland.
It's just that's just shocking, really. And it's not that you should, you've got no God-given right to turn up and win games, but
No.
you shouldn't be getting. It's the manner of the.
Yeah, it's the performance that annoyed the Scottish fans more than anything, wasn't it? I mean, if they got outclassed by a team, then you say, okay, they were just better than us. But if they had showed that commitment and actually played to the max, they would have beaten them easily anyway. They would probably been 3 or 4-0 against.
What do you do as a manager? Surely you told them you can't take it easy. You should win this game.
Even although they're international, that's what I think that Gordon Strachan's teams were the nearest they looked like to a club team for a long, long time. To actually say, I used to sit down and think, well, whatever happens. They'll have at least they'll have a go.
Yeah.
They've got a bit of spirit. McLeish's teams look nervous.
Well, Ray agrees
always
with
look
you.
nervous.
He said Gordon was a brilliant manager, says how it is. Straight down the line.
Yeah, and I think there was a nervousness it seems to transmit itself through his teams. And I think that's both times he's been in charge. I mean, he's had two goes at it, McLeish, and I think he's very defensively minded.
Yeah.
So.
Well, at least go for it. But I think Dave. People slag me off, but I think Dave Moyes will be good.
Don't know.
Not fan over there.
The thing is that
I played with Dave.
Yeah.
I played with Moyes at Preston.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
He's a good player at Preston, I thought. No.
We didn't see him all the time.
No, we didn't see him all the time.
You know what? He's fucking brutal, really, as a footballer.
Yeah, that's what people tell me. Yeah,
he did 2 left feet.
He gets stuck in though, wouldn't he?
But he was a leader of men.
Mm.
And he's confident. He'd been into his coaching for a long time. The Manchester United job.
No.
It's too big for him.
I don't think it was. I think it's personalities, to be honest. And I'm not surprised he did what he did because he wants to put his own stamp on it. However, I don't know why he's not just gone in and just gone, pick your reins up, crack on, lads. You're champions for a reason. On you go.
I
it's not about
thought
me.
he did that.
I think he did.
No.
You get rid of the backroom staff, and then you change the dietary stuff, and you start twisting like.
It was the
top
chips
players.
at half time, chips before game.
As silly as that sounds, what are you doing that for?
Yeah.
In my opinion,
Yeah.
why are you upsetting your dressing room? That's a championship-winning dressing room, full of international football players that could actually teach you about how to play at the top level.
I think Ferdinand made a point on BT Sport when he was going. The difference between Fergie and Moyes was that even though they wanted to play for him, when the pre-match thing with Moyes, he'd look at the play. Say they're playing Chelsea, and he'll say, "Right, we need to try and combat what they were doing." With Fergie, he'd just say, "Right, you're better than them. You play the way you play, you'll beat them." He won't even look at the opposition.
You see, for me, it's a defender's mentality.
Yeah.
2v1, 3v2, 4v3, whatever the overload. Why is that then? I don't get it. If you can't defend 1v1, what are you doing on the football pitch?
Yeah.
And a defender's mentality, not all the time, but it is very. It's always the pessimistic. Oh well, what happened?
Yeah, but I'm like that when I played it. Even Sunday
Alex Ferguson's a centre forward, so I think his teams would be of that ilk that you go and attack teams and go and express yourselves and play with a tempo and a momentum because you have an obligation. You're playing for Manchester United, and I think talk about other people, but I don't know for sure. But
Cloughie was like that as well, wasn't he?
I wasn't. That it's one of that. I think be all right once it's hindsight and all these other things. But you're thinking at the time, they go into the transfer market. They try to. When did you ever hear Manchester United trying to get a bargain when they're going to sign someone? The Manchester United pay the money. You don't try to get Fellaini and Bain. Is it Leighton Baines for one? And that you're haggling over a few million. You get out and you play the dough if you think they're good enough. And there was a bit of a mess on the transfer stuff. I thought that.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if Moyes would do a good job or not. I don't know.
No. It's proof in the pudding.
I thought he did well to keep his job for 7 years at Everton, or 10 years, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Or 15 years, whatever it was.
I think there was times I would agree with that.
He never won anything.
No, the times I would agree was when they were in the bottom 3. I thought it was any other manager who probably would have got sacked.
Yeah, and I think he had a really good, healthy relationship, or unhealthy, with Wainwright. I think he'd become unsackable, which is fantastic managing up the way. I think that's what he's good at.
Yeah.
Made it very personal, I think.
Oh, they were very close.
That's my reading from the outside. He made it very personal, and I think he bought himself a lot of time there, Dave. But if you look at Martin O'Neill at Leicester, they went and won a League Cup, and teams like that. And Everton were probably spending enough, good enough, to maybe have done a bit more under him. I think FA Cup final was it against Chelsea.
There's always got to be that divide of Evertonians, which they will say there'd be one side thing, there'd be another side where they said, "Well, we've done a brilliant job," but there'd be like the side with Allan Smart.
I wouldn't say he'd done a bad job by any stretch.
No, but there is that side of
for Everton for a long time. They just never.
Yeah, but I've had arguments. My mates, I'm Watford, he's Man United, and I always say Moyes done a good job, but there'd be the other side with Scott. Scott. He'd just go, no, like you said, well, what has he done in 7 years?
Things now, you're saying about Fergie, great manager, what he done, but now you've got player power, which gets a lot of the managers to sack now. With Fergie, he was in control. He had dropped Beckham, no one had said anything. Clough, get rid of him as well.
All these, but they were not by fear, but respect as well. You don't get a lot of that now.
I think a bit of both.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of fear. I think we got a different Graham Taylor, didn't we? The my generation compared to, maybe Luther and Kenny and
they were just
because obviously I think there's a tension in the manager himself as well. I remember him putting something on the notice board about pressure. I think it was something along the lines of when he was at Lincoln, he'd had a mortgage, he had a young family. And they were having I think maybe his first season before they actually broke the records.
Yeah.
They were shouting for his head a little bit. And then he gave the analogy of the same thing happened again when I was at England. Where's the pressure? I've got no mortgage. I'm set for life, but I'm England manager. But I'm just making my way here, and they're calling for my head, however many. And that to me was what he did. He asked questions of different things, made you think in different ways, and but Scotland manager, all the best.
Whoever it is, at the moment it's a poison chalice.
I would have thought Malky Mackay might have had a sniff as well, but
they did link him at one stage. He wouldn't be a bad choice.
No, he wouldn't.
Someone said that because he didn't do too badly at Watford, to be honest, with the financial restraints at the time. Even Sean Dyche, when he came here, done well. We didn't have much money when Dyche came here. He had to sell, was it Sordell and Graham when he was here? So
good manager. Done a really good job at them.
Yeah, he wants to be. He's a traditional manager. He wants to be a manager.
You look at these sort of managers as well, don't you? And I think in old money, these managers would have got bigger jobs sooner. They don't seem to be getting a sniff at the bigger jobs, and we were talking about your man at Sheffield United, Chris Wilder.
Yeah,
can't see him getting a bigger job yet. Profile, everything about him would say that he's, I don't know, just
young English manager, hungry, proven himself. All credentials that you thought would elevate you. But
someone was saying an FHM manager, you got to look at that as well.
We do.
There is, that kind of lean. Yeah, a bit of a model, got to hold the suit. And somebody was saying that to me.
Shake your head.
He's mate.
Spanish. It is, isn't it? It is true. Stuart saying, what are you doing yourself these days?
I've got. I still work and coach and teach and stuff like that. So when I retired, I did a degree through the PFA and did my lecturing stuff through that. So did that, done my license. Always had a keen interest to coach and teach. We have a special educational needs business with Oxfordshire County Council, and we have a site where we do, the apprentices at the football club will do a study programme and they'll train. So we have that as well. So I work with a company that does that across the UK. Yeah. I also have my own business doing that as well.
Yeah.
So busy enough.
Keeping you ticking on it.
Yeah.
What else we got? We got
the ex-wife at bay.
Yeah, there's been a few before. So I can't remember who it was, but someone asked, "What was your best memory under God, Graham Taylor?"
I think just I've got so many. I think when he wanted to sign me, the memory of how he made that experience, I would say that was the best experience I've had joining a company, a football club, he made me feel that I was the best player on the planet. Now that's a genius that does that.
Yeah.
Especially when you got my ability.
Well, you certainly repaid it.
So
didn't you?
you know the games. Obviously, you've got the key moments that I think everybody remembers, and but behind the scenes, there's a lot of. I think there's a lot of things that group of men experienced, which was fantastic.
Yeah. So did Mr. Mick, Evening Mick, Watford Woody, said, did Allan keep his player final top from '99?
I've got it framed.
Did you?
It was
Brilliant.
actually was. I tell a lie, I've got it framed, but it is framed. My partner Sarah framed all my shots about a year ago.
Oh, brilliant.
Because they were sitting in my pub and I didn't know where they were, truth be told. And I happened to take a friend up. We were tidying out one of the rooms in the pub because there was a changeover of tenants, and all my stuff was there. He started kenning me. He's going, medals, player of the year stuff that some of the Watford fans had given me, and I wasn't sure where it was at. So she framed them all and put them up in the hallway. So thanks to her, they're looking like they've been looked after.
Yeah.
Well done, Arv.
Yeah, well done. No, brilliant. Was it, how loud was it on the pitch when you scored at Wembley? My ears are still ringing. That's from James Rogers.
Yeah, and let's hope that on the 18th there's a bit more of it.
Cool.
And I'll be there doing the cheering, and it'll be quite a nice experience to sit and watch others doing it.
Getting very
You know,
drunk.
but yeah, get a great days, don't they? That's why you go to football, isn't it? Or that's why you play football. Or that's why you get involved in football.
You can never take those memories away from you.
No, and I think of that, kids going to this game that might be their first ever experience.
Yeah.
Actually, if you think of the semi-final, there will have been kids in that stadium
Okay.
that will actually refer to that as being a big part of why they started playing the game.
Sarah said you're welcome, Smarty.
I enjoy the more the build up before the actual game. I enjoy getting up, going to it, and I enjoy that.
I think they'd go to sleep the day before. I think the FA Cup final, it still has not 100% dawned on me we're in an FA Cup final.
You have to keep
still
watching
yes,
the highlights.
Superb.
Yeah.
That's the nearest I'll be getting to an FA Cup final, that's for sure.
You can say, I scored there. There, just there.
That's what.
That's what it bobbled there.
Yeah, well, I kind of do that. I bore the kids going up and down the motorway. Yeah, I've played there, scored there. Missed the sitter there, and there.
It's still nestled there. No, but that's the thing with the memories. You can never, you can always say, like you said, you drive past, I scored there. How many people can say that, you know?
Yeah, and it's we were saying that before we come on. I think Leeds. I hadn't played at Leeds, and I hadn't played at Middlesbrough, and actually, there's not many other ones. You know, and I think that's when you sit back and you think, as much as you play at different levels, it's nice to have experienced the non-league and the smaller teams. And actually, when I started here, you see where teams are now. I mean, you look at. What's the name down at Stockport? I mean, Stockport were playing against us the season we get promoted.
Yeah.
Stockport have just been promoted out of the Conference North. I mean, it's
Crazy, isn't it?
it is, that's how easy it can go the other way.
Yeah.
And Gary Maxwell was in charge. It wasn't a bad Stockport team that season, and up until this year, they've been struggling for years.
Got Bolton as well, weren't you? They're in near the Champions League.
Yeah,
Playoff final with us,
Nice to see one of the old owners going in there.
Then again, it doesn't help right now that Bassini's trying to take over the club.
They said it's either go Bancroft or Bassini. I said, what's the difference?
It's a bit of a
It's a bit of a sour note, that is. Yeah, it's...
They did ask Allardyce. They did ask Allardyce to take over again, didn't they, recently? But he said he wanted stuff and they couldn't give him a certain amount.
I'll tell you, the best one I heard was when Huddersfield, you shouldn't laugh because I love Huddersfield. We went there a couple of weeks ago and I think they're a lovely club. But they when Wagner left, he said, "I can't. I want to break now. I can't do it." And they asked Allardyce. I said, "Even I can't save you." I thought that was brilliant. And they reckon he actually said that. I don't know if that's true, but that is the best quote I've ever heard. When he said, "Look, you're fucked." But even Allardyce turns it down.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. And even I can't save you, lad. Sorry. That was fantastic. Mick saying, does Alan think the price it's starting to get away from the family man, the final cost? Oh, well, about the tickets costing a family of 250 min on tickets, 280 minutes on well, I don't know.
Minimum, I think.
Minimum, that's it, yeah. So,
the cost of the game is just gone through the roof, isn't it?
yeah.
I was just saying to you, I got 11 tickets now, and I hope they're good for paying me back.
We know where they live.
Yeah, but and I think it alters who's sitting in the stand. I think that's what you look at certain stadiums, you think, God, they're dead. They're dead probably because Humphrey and Herbert don't really know what's going on.
Funny enough, we've actually got them on the forum, but just joined our forum just a minute ago. No, but that's the thing. I mean, next door we got a guy next door to him, just over there, Gimmo. He's a Fulham fan, and he turned
that
around.
The guy that was telling me to F off for the parking space outside?
Did he have a white van though? Did he have a white van though? So it's probably his Gimmo. We'll speak to him later. We'll put something up. But yeah, it probably is him. But he's a Fulham fan, and he turned around and said, he's bringing his kids, wasn't it, back in the day. Yeah. And he says, it's just so expensive. Him, his 2 kids. People say we don't have to bring them. But I said, yeah, but how can you tell? You want to get these kids into football, but then you look at the prices.
Yeah, I think your value's probably coming now. It's probably at Hemel Hempstead. Where are they? Conference South.
Yep.
Yeah. That's probably where the working man's looking at, and then you're not getting the same razzmatazz with the Premier League. There's not the same zip or focus. It's kind of lost its way, I think, or the country has, because the wages haven't gone up. So that becomes a social issue, bigger issue, but either the money ain't got really gone up in people's pockets for the jobs, and it just, for me, it's
just hasn't caught up.
Just getting bigger and bigger. I mean, if you're talking about, my mum said to me, "You got tickets?" And I said, "Yeah." "How much is he due you?" Like my dad, and I went, "It's all right." I said, "I've got the tickets for him." So I told her how much they were, and she goes, "Oh, what meal are you getting for that?" I went, "A pie and a bovril, but we've got to pay for that on top." You're not getting a meal with that. You're not getting. She's going, "Oh, jeez." And I told her about a friend of mine, whose brother has the hospitality, whatever ticket it is, at Wembley. 100 grand, I think he paid for it.
I mean, how much do you
for how many people he has? He obviously can. But it's like, jeez, it's phenomenal. It's another ridiculous. It's just on another level. I wouldn't pay that if I was rich. No. He goes to all the events. He takes his family, he takes his kids. I don't know how many seats he gets for that. If you were putting that kind of money in, you'd want to stand, wouldn't you?
And the rest.
And a statue. You want a statue outside as well.
I'm expecting to be on the bench.
You watch it, we'll be up in the stands. That's not Smarty, seriously.
Right in front of us.
20 minutes, lads. 20 minutes, Sammy. Just Twitter him. Tweet him, just get 20 minutes.
Just send him a text on the time.
No, just send him the video from 99.
Push Dini out of the way for the penalty. Can't do it.
Just flick it on.
Get out of the way.
Just watch what Peter Kennedy does and you'll be alright. Just play it across, he'll score.
Would you like the stepped up for that penalty if you were playing in
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. No chance.
Go on, Alan, you have it.
Absolutely, push Dini in front.
Go on,
but it's like, imagine what was going through Dini's head at that point. Last kick of the game, he scores it, we go to extra time. He misses it, we go out.
He was smart because I watched him and I never realised.
Mind the pun.
No, he was watching Ruddy, and Ruddy was doing all this, and he actually did pick the ball back up and put it back
up, and he said that was to recompose himself, to put it back down.
If you took penalties, when you took penalties, did you have a ritual or something like that? You just put it down and smash it?
We went to semi-final, didn't we? We had the sudden death, and we had the players decided in the order all the way up to number 10.
Yeah.
So I was number 7. So you know you're at sudden death at that time. So, and I kid you not, I hit hundreds of penalties leading up to the Birmingham game.
Yeah.
I've never done it before or since, but I just had a feeling I did not want that to result in me on my head.
No.
And that's the thing. You carry the dressing room, you carry the hopes and expectations of people, and you've got to get that out your head. And they say you can't recreate it. And I've said before, and I've said it in other interviews, that I personally did. I felt that I did. I took the stadium out of the situation and used some old golf pros stuff with mitre and kept my eye on that. And it was 4 or 5 steps back, 2 to the left, and that was it. I totally kept myself out of it, because really, if you don't, you're shitting yourself.
If you think about it too much.
I don't care what anybody says. I don't know how many at Birmingham, 35,000, something like that. I don't know. There must be 30,000 there, I would have thought.
Thing is, I took a penalty last minute in the manager's game, and
You thought, God, Jesus.
I just went, oh God, here we go. And this is just in like Hemel Town. This is at Hemel Town, and I knew the guy who was in goal as well, and he knew where I was going to place it. But I thought, right, it's one of those things you don't think. I know it's a totally different thing in like playoff semi-final.
There's about 20 people there.
There's
Pidge.
about 20 people.
There is something that you build up, and I think that's the whole thing, isn't it? As an individual, you build it up in your head.
Yeah.
That it's something, and that's the respect for being 92nd, 93rd minute, whatever it was.
It was 93rd.
Everybody's wetting their knickers in the stand, and you've got to get
right
the job
in front
done.
of that stand as well.
You've got to get the job done.
Yeah.
And I just immense respect for the mental.
Yeah. The
mental strength of that and the execution. Because I was sitting watching it exactly the same, going, "Oh my god, oh my god!"
Yeah.
And
I was standing there. I was near enough in tears. I'm like, he still has to score it, and
because you wanting the team to do well, but I know there's a lot of lads watching that. But if you were watching that just as a football fan, in that moment as an ex-player, you know what's riding on his shoulders at that point.
Yeah,
that's the bit, and it's professional respect for that. That's just balls of steel. That.
It's a case of just looking at
big car.
I think also though the penalty takers have that.
Yeah.
The penalty takers actually, they have the practice of it. That's what I think. That's why I think the penalty shootout's tougher, because there's only one man allocated to take the penalties all season, and you could potentially be in a team for 4 or 5 seasons and never be in that situation. You can be in a career and never be in a penalty shootout situation of any note. That's what does make it a little bit. I think it's a great way to finish a game. I love it to watch.
I watch it.
I do. I love it.
If you win, it's fantastic. If you don't, it's decimating, isn't it?
I've never been on the receiving end of the defeat. I don't think penalties. So I don't think.
I think at Birmingham in '99, I thought it was a great way to finish it when we won. But before that, I was like, why do we have to go to penalties?
They scored quick and all, didn't they?
When I saw Steve Palmer coming up for one, Stevie Palmer, and because I seen him miss it.
Stevie did well, didn't he? Just took the pressure off everybody.
I couldn't believe it when
it's the shittest penalty you've ever seen.
I think, but I said when he scored, if he scores, we got a chance, because he was the one. Did he
Palmer's missed, yeah.
I think he scored. I thought Palmer scored because he
Palmer's
missed
Palmer's chewed it into the floor and it went about 4 feet past the post.
Oh, right, because what I was thinking of, because when we played Bournemouth 2 seasons before that, he missed. And I thought, God, if he scores this, we've got a chance.
Sorry, Palms, it was an absolute shocker.
But
it was an unselfish act because it just relaxed the rest of the lads.
Who else missed? Was it just Steve, wasn't it?
Steve, I think, yeah. Just chewed it into the floor and it just ding, ding, ding.
Totally missed it.
But the penalty spot was like quite deep.
Yeah, we've done the other end at the time. That's probably why. That's probably blame myself for that.
They scored early and all, didn't they? That game.
Yeah, because Ngongi scored the goal thing. Cause
it's a long time ago. That
20 years.
Ridiculous.
That's
absolutely ridiculous.
With that passage of the Watford video of the highlights of the semi-final, had the interview that Taylor did just after the game, where he told you guys, some of you will cry, some of you, and on May the 31st, you will see nothing like you've ever seen before, and all this sort of stuff. And Yeah, it was one hell of a speech, wasn't it?
Yeah, saying like if you stand on the halfway line,
That's
you
it.
just
That's
look
the
at the whole crowd going, and it's like just hearing him speak about it, and then looking what Javi's done for us this season, and seeing Javi standing there looking at the Watford fans, it's like.
Well, Graham said it would never, leave his memory.
Yeah.
All his life, wasn't it? He said that, was it in the interview just before Elton came on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what football does to you, though, or sport, or any of these things. Just fortunate you've been involved in it.
You said you've been there, you've done it.
It's lovely. Just what I said to you, you just tap into it now and again. And it's nice to have that reference point. It's nice for people to recognise. But life's so shit otherwise, isn't it? I mean, it's just
cherish the good things,
ridiculous, but it doesn't matter how much money you've made. I defy anybody to harp on about, and that's the thing now for these younger players. They're multi-millionaires, but what are they? What are they reflecting on?
What's the memories when they tell the grandkids and stuff? Isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of players getting paid a lot of money, but actually not doing it. They're getting paid not to play.
Could name a couple now. Andy Carroll for one.
And good luck to them.
Yeah.
Good luck to them financially. The game is looking after the players more and more, but they don't seem to. They don't seem to be getting any experience doing it.
No, especially if you want to go to management and coaching after. There's not as much as that, because you learned under some good managers, Taylor being one of them.
I had some really good managers. I mean, Moisey and Gary Peters, we won the championship with Preston. Just reflecting on that with some people. Mervyn Day was at Carlisle with Mick Wadsworth, who was Bobby Robson's World Cup. He was on the staff for the, I want to say 86 World Cup. Was it 86? Yeah, he was on the staff there behind the scenes. Decent coaches and decent managers. Dario for a bit.
Dario Gradi, yeah.
Had a year in there. They were in the championship at the time. So it was, Alec McLeish, funny enough, because he tried to sign me from Watford.
Yeah. And
I failed the medical, but went and played on loan there. And, so yeah, some good, strong personalities, and I'm thankful of the people that I had the chance to play with, and some of the stories, and
you got that, haven't you?
The people you cross paths with.
Yeah, that's
where it's really good. My job that I'm doing, the lad that scored for Eastleigh, Ollie Dennett scores for Eastleigh to take them into the playoffs. He's only 18, 19.
Yeah.
I did his level 3 for him and did his qualification last year, and just tell him to keep his head down and keep sort of working away. And so the job now is even that. And the lad that's captain of Farnborough, I was fighting for him to get in the team when he was 16. With the manager telling them that he's got a right chance, got him into the team, got him his debut that year, and he's captained the team for about 2 or 3 years, and really needs to get a move now. But there's good players about, and you look at it now. There's a kid that's playing at Farnborough now they've dropped down at the Conference South, and I'd nail him to the mat. I'd go, hang my hat on him, doing well for anybody, and boys need to be, scouts and things like that.
It's like us right now with Keener. How well is he doing?
Yeah.
Well, he's only 18.
Yeah,
ain't
it? 18, 19,
yeah,
14.
And he scored that screamer against Reading.
Non-league's a gold mine as well.
Yeah.
Look at Peterborough for a couple of years. All the players they were bringing in from, their policy was to bring in from the non-league.
Yeah.
And they just cherry-picked the best players from the conference. Or was it National League now? They did it. There is gems out there. It's like with the top Premier League sides.
They don't entertain them now. It's the Highland League's the same. My dad picked it, always in communication with players, and I was sort of just retiring and just coming towards the end, and he was telling me about a couple of players, and he said, he was up watching some of the Highland League, the league I used to play in. And Paul Coots was at a team outside Aberdeen getting paid £100 a week, and he's saying, listen, if there's a better player at Pittodrie, I've yet to see it. He was only 19-year-old, and he got a call up, and I think he was Ferguson's first signing at Peterborough, Paul Coots, and he went to Derby. I think he's at Sheffield United now with a broken leg. Because he come from the Highland League, and there's loads of players, but the thing for me is they're not fashionable. The clubs are losing themselves.
Yeah.
The football clubs are losing themselves, and there's not enough football people in the football clubs making football decisions. There's football politicians. There's gravy train people. When the money's not in football, who's there? The football men are in football.
Yeah.
Not the people that are saying, I'm a nutritionalist, dietitian. And we need all these things, but there are a lot of clinger, there's a lot. Football has attracted that, and it's from the inside looking at other clubs. I've worked in academies and stuff like that. I'm not on my soapbox, but there are a lot of decisions where you're going, they're not a fashionable signing because they've not come from abroad.
They're not giving him time now as well, are they?
The first thing, if someone said, oh, well, there's a lad at such and such, you're going, yeah, but it's only there. It's the default setting. Oh, where you been? Oh, well, I've been at Daventry, or I've been at what? Right. Oh,
yeah, because the fans want a marquee signing. They don't want to hear, oh, this player will come in.
That's exactly what it is. Keshi Anderson was playing up the road there, and I was manager at Daventry. And Keshi Anderson went into Crystal Palace, I think, and scored a hat-trick. And you couldn't, with your eyes shut, you'd have said, this kid can play. I forget where he was at, but remember, he nicked a goal against us when I was manager, and they beat us 1-0, and he was a difference on the day, and you can see, he's got a bit. But it still took him 8-10 months to reinvent the wheel with people, and I don't know, he's gone somewhere just recently, I don't know if it's Swindon or something like that.
Yeah.
The non-league has got a lot of good players.
Yeah, it's just there's no time with managers either. They're not given that time to say, right, just go out and buy. Here's some players, bring them in, nurture them, and see them reap with the benefits.
The reserves.
The opposite side of the coin. Daventry had asked me to stand and do a job. Said no problem. Took a few of the lads that I was teaching and stuff like that.
Yeah,
few £100 a week to distribute between the players. I had a lad that had gone from Northampton to Liverpool for 100 grand, playing for me for 20 quid. Lad had played ridiculous. The lad that had made a debut for Coventry, one that was in around Stoke and Spurs, and you're thinking, gee whiz, I can't even fill the car up with petrol, but I can give them the dance floor. And you're trying to say, look, he's a good player, he's decent.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know what's going on with the talent. Just seems to fall right through.
Yeah.
Or they get this illusion they can't be asked with.
Yeah, they said a lot of them. They were saying that, like I say, when they have those Premier League Tonight shows, they're saying that a lot of them from after 16 they just fall through the net.
Enough. They've had a career of it.
Yeah,
you take a kid in at 6-year-old or 7-year-old, and they get to 16. They've had a career. 10 years of and then they've almost been brought up in the Rolls Royce facility. Everything's been perfect. Are you going to roll the sleeves up and go to when it's chucking it down, it's windy, it's raining, there's bubbles all over the pitch, and we're only paying you a few bubbles, thinking, nah, better than that. Yeah. Not necessarily that they are better than that. I think the desire goes. They just can't be bothered with
the mentality and the desire.
Because they've been at the fantastic facilities. Yeah. But
gone from scratch.
Talk about Daventry. Alan saying this is Mr. Non-League who does our some of our non-league roundup alongside Mr. Mubdino's Mrs. Non-League. So we have to get both of them on eventually. He goes, Alan, a great season for your old club, Daventry Town, who have won
the league.
Current division title. So not bad, is it?
Yeah, and it's the lad they brought in as a centre back that's managing them.
The legacy is still there.
Yeah, no, it's the lad they brought in, and he looked after and he tightened things up for me at the back. I was speaking to a friend of mine. We were just chatting about them just the other day. Actually, done a good job. He's got a bit of a problem this summer, negotiating money at that level, and they'll be operating off £800 a week for the squad.
So the glamour.
So that's where it's at, though. Yeah. I think Kettering were in our division at the time, and they were £3,000 a week. So that was big news, and it is at that level. But that's it. It is cutthroat. You get to November, December, if the non-league teams aren't in the hunt, they'll just slash the wage bill and just pull it, and they'll just pull the plug on it.
Emerald did it as well.
That's what they'll do, and they'll just say, right, just keep us in the division, and it's too bob and a Kit Kat to do it.
So I'll do it for the Kit Kat. I'm already sold on that.
But I enjoy that, because obviously Highland League is where I started off with, again, another manager, Sergei Boltacha. Russian international. That was my first manager in the professional game, and he's over at Charlton.
Yeah,
There's a 21s at Charlton, Sergey. So great experience being around sort of people like that.
I bet it's rewarding when you find out one of your signers is now managing and winning titles.
Yeah,
You
but
can
it's,
take a little bit of credit
but
for
again,
yourself as well.
Again, the kids at Blackburn, the group of players, some of them that you're fighting tooth and nail with the recruitment and old money a scout, and they've made debuts last season. 6 or 7 boys made debuts at Blackburn with Tony Mowbray, out of the sort of 14, 15-year-olds that were brought in. Some really good players at Blackburn. But again, the club were in financial ruin at first team level, so it allowed the kids to come through and blossom. And there's a good. I think it was down at QPR maybe 18 months ago, and I looked at the bench and there was 4 or 5 names. I'm thinking that's great. It's great to see the kids going on.
It's refreshing, isn't it?
Fantastic. This country's got some fantastic young players.
Well, it was just us in the early to mid-90s. We were the same. Baisley and all these sort of players coming through. We had to because we had no money.
Yeah,
so we had to blood.
That helps.
Yeah, did help. Porter was not Porter came
Well,
through
Connolly
the 80s,
Connolly was on the radio today. David Connolly was saying about having a wimpy, going for a run and spewing it up, and how Kenny and that were really vicious with him. But it was the making of them. They're good pros.
Yeah, I mean he's good lad. It's just shame the way he left.
Paul Robinson's a great example.
Oh, Robbo,
to any young players, fantastic.
I mean, he was going in for 50. He was not pulling out 50-50s in training. I mean, you probably vouch for that. I mean, how many 50-50s did you go on the end of his ones? Did you ever get
Rob would be in my
still
team.
feel him.
Just make sure he's in your team.
Mark Murley says, I'm at the pub, so just checking in to say hi, Smarty, you legend.
James Rogers is asking, which this is going to cause a big dispute. Which goal was better in '99, yours or Wrighty's?
I meant mine. I meant mine.
Have you ever said that to Wrighty? You said, look, I don't think you meant yours. You just swung a leg at it.
Right, he did swing a leg at everything. He knows him. You know what? He was the most surprised guy in the stadium.
You
thought it was a celebration. He was going, fucking hell.
My mate said behind me, he's ginger as well. He goes, bloody hell, Mick Hucknall scored. I said, brilliant. We all called him Mick Hucknall.
I still tell him it come off his shin. It was like Wayne Rooney's, it was off his shin.
Yeah, well, we still think everyone says Gazza's best goal. I said, no, you ain't seen Nicky Wright's, obviously, have you?
No, it's overhead kick at Wembley. Can't get any better.
That's what it was.
You couldn't write that, even if you wanted to.
You couldn't write it with Wrighty, that's for sure.
He never scored one, did he?
No, Jesus Christ. That is, that's what it's a boyhood dream, isn't it? Overhead kick at Wembley, that is Roy of the Rovers stuff.
Well, that's what he'll say.
And it's the Roy of the Rovers colours as well. It's I think there was more technical. Wrighty couldn't have scored my goal. I'd have scored his. I could have shut my eyes and done that.
Alan saying about the fish and chips. He says, "I remember Dave Conley. He was a regular at Bushy Fish and Chip Shop when he was at Watford."
I think a few of the lads were around the calf.
Popping for
over the years. But I think obviously the older lads won the FA Youth Cup, didn't they? Against the likes of, I want to say, Norman Whiteside and Mark Hughes. That going back to that sort of era. David Johnson.
Yep.
That's a few. But I have a good relationship with DJ, some of the older lads, because of the ex-players association. He does a lot of good work in Croydon with underprivileged kids, and it's him that got me on the, on the tracks of looking at that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Engaging with young people.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I remember your goal at Bury. You had a couple of celebrations. You had the Scottish Oats one.
Yes.
That thing there. You had the one you used to always do that, didn't you? I remember that one at Bury. You used to slid on your knees and went like that. Did you have like any planned celebration? You just did right. I've scored. I'll just do that.
Well, there was a bit of some of the clubs we played with. There used to be a bit on Soccer AM where the goal celebrations used to get shown. I mean, now it's the showboat,
and all that.
So I think that would have been the thing you'd have focused on just for a bit of banter in the dressing room. But at the time, it used to be like stuff. So at Carlisle, the year we got promoted, we used to try and do a few bits and pieces. And I don't know. Goal celebrations. You just probably like everybody. I'm surprised they've scored. I'm quite happy.
It's like, whoa, it's gone in.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, I've managed it.
Thing is, back then, your celebrations would come off the top of your head. These days, they practice the celebrations in training.
It's like the fish one, and
nice.
That's superb. That one, to be fair.
Yeah,
That was
it is
brilliant.
good, but what I mean is, but the thing is, though, now refs are coming up to you as you're about to celebrate,
Yeah.
moving you on. It's like, thing is, even though we said the twattery with the mask,
Yeah.
but little things like that, it is fun. You know, I miss all those ones.
The guy that did that in the semi-final, the
Sin Cara wannabe. Yeah.
Thing is, have you seen what he said about Deeney now, Sin Cara? He's pretty much slagging Deeney
I
off.
just said you're a crap Rey Mysterio anyway, so
Yeah,
it's
and
wrestling.
And I find it funny how he's slagging Deeney off and everything. Well, it's like, well, let's see you actually go up to Deeney and say that. He'll probably knock you out
It's
like
a Cojones thing again.
everyone else did in the locker room.
Danny Iron said, Allan Smart is wonderful. I think we've all definitely agreed that, Danny. Yeah. What's the best and worst ground you've played at? That's for Mick.
Well, Berry finished me off. Berry retired me. It was an absolute toilet of a place to be.
Yeah.
And no bones about that. It was absolute. The toilets, the dressing room, and that was my last club. And I was turning up there on the training grounds and stuff like that. The pitch wasn't the worst, but some of the places in Scotland in the non-league, they are just like so far behind some of them. But great for your upbringing.
Yeah.
Because I try to say that to my son. He's at Preston. That I said, you're going to play at this ground, and it was one of the teams in non-league in Lancashire. And I said, let me tell you, there's a slope on that pitch, bobbly. It's going to be really tough. You're going to have to be really switched on, and the kids struggle with that. There's a few bad ones, but Football League, I would go Bury, because the dressing rooms at the time when I was there, it's much better now, was an absolute toilet of a place. Mould up the walls. That was in the home dressing room.
That was in the own one, didn't it?
No, honestly, there's mould up the walls in the shower room, and I used to go into the offices in the morning to do the toilet, and people would look down their nose and say, I don't go to the toilet in my own house and a thing like that. It's like train spotting.
Jesus,
Like train spotting.
Jesus, that's bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, isn't it? And anybody that played at Gigline will tell you the away dressing room was at the time. It's not, I'm not speaking ill of them now, but that and that was all part of the thing.
Yeah.
It was part of the psychology. The away dressing room was an absolute shed of a place, and the pitch was heavy and boggy, so that was a tough place to go. The best places are Ibrox, Parkhead, Celtic Park. Ibrox is lovely, marble staircase, and thankfully played at Highbury. That's it. And there's a smell, and there's just a feel when you walk in at Highbury and the underfloor heating or whatever it is in the dressing room. Quite a nice touch, and that's going back a long time now, isn't it?
But with you, like you said, it was good grounding going to these like lower Scottish division clubs.
100%.
Exactly, and when you went to the Arsenals, the Ibroxes.
Yeah, I've been up at.
You can appreciate it a bit more then,
Yeah,
couldn't you?
I've played up at Wick Academy on a Monday night.
Yeah.
Or Tuesday night. Tuesday night at Wick Academy. That's the most northern club in the UK. Nicked a goal up there, and then I've played down at Torquay and everywhere in between. And that's what football's given me. That I've had I think that I've been so fortunate to travel this country from north to south. So you can tell me any of the clubs in the Highland League have pretty much got a Fraserburgh, all these places. The wind blows in, Peterhead. They're hard places. Forest Mechanics.
Alan saying, I'm glad you said Ibrox before mentioning Skeptic.
Pardon?
He said, I'm glad you glad you said Ibrox before mentioning Skeptic.
No, but I think the history of Ibrox.
Yeah.
Celtic Park's a fantastic place and that's the reason I wanted to play in Scotland for a little while. Because I actually wanted to go to the stadiums.
Yeah.
I wanted to go and play in the stadiums, and had a bit of that. And actually, the pub I have is in Connors Key. I think they were in the cup final today against was it New Saints,
Yeah.
and was toying with trying to get a game for them to try and nick a goal in the Welsh league.
Yeah.
They played in Ireland for a little while as well. At Portadown with Peter Kennedy.
Oh, Peter, yeah. No. Scotty Fitzgerald's watching as well.
Is he
Scotty Fitz, Scotty Fitz, he's on.
Bore you to death, mate.
He's already been on as well.
Yeah, he said that, didn't you?
Danny Irons asking, you were so close to joining his hometown Northampton before Watford. What made you choose the Hornets instead of the Cobblers?
Probably the gaffer, the manager, the fact that Watford were promoted, and as a young lad growing up, Mo Johnson used to play here, and on a Sunday, the sports scene used to be on up the roads where you get the roundup, and you'd always get the pick of the English games. So at 10-year-old, 11, the impressionable years, Watford were a big club, and Mo Johnson used to, so Watford playing Everton or Liverpool, and they're up in the hunt as well. So, and Elton John, actually traditionally, and when I first come down, obviously Preston North End was my first team in England. Big Scottish connection there as well, and that's as simple as it was. But the gaffer, I mean, you would. Everybody that had played for, I mean, David Platt. I did my A license after I retired, and they went round the room just asking who the best managers were, and David Platt said Graham Taylor, and I said, well, Sven-Goran Eriksson, Arsene Wenger on his list. So you sit there with a bit of pride and say, yeah, Graham Taylor, undoubtedly. It wasn't even up for debate. I wouldn't have cared what he said, but just again to put him into the realms of where he was, that there's a lot of better players than me that think he was the best manager that he played for. So
did he have that aura about him when he walked in? I mean, I noticed this, and I mean, you played under him, but I met him 3 or 4 times, and when he walked into a room, you were like, whoa, you knew Taylor was there. It was just it's not a bad thing. It was just because he was Mr. Watford, he had that aura.
I think I listened to John McGovern talking about Brian Clough.
Yeah.
And it was reflecting on, I'd walk across the desert, but I don't really want to go out for a pint with him. That's pretty much, but I'd go for a pint with the gaffer.
Yeah.
But I would do what he asked me to do. No questions asked.
Yeah.
That's it. Right, what do you want me to do? Right, okay, I'll do my best, that's it.
Yeah.
And it was very simple stuff. And we had some really good meetings, me and him privately. And I take a lot from some of the stuff that that we shared. He's a legend. That's the bottom line. It gets used a bit loosely with some people. He is. I mean, he's.
Even McGovern was, I mean, what a player he was.
Yeah, and I think that was it. But for me, it kind of stuck with me how he saw his manager, and I think, I get that. That's the only one I would do that with. The other ones, I would always double guess some of them, and if they weren't intelligent and they weren't speaking on a level, and they would glower at you and be ignorant with you on a Monday, I wasn't having him. If he didn't have the ability to go, all right, he wasn't a man. Look, we have a bad day in a football pitch. Come on, get over it. It's a game of football, and that's what Gaffer was very good at. You've got your family, you've got all your other things. Look, it's a game of football, and he took the pressure away. I said, he come round and shook my hand after my debut, and I think he got taken off after about 70 minutes. And he come to me and he shook my hand, and I went, "That's fucking shit." I said, "I'm sorry, it's rubbish." And I think we beat Portsmouth. And Jason scored at back post.
2-1.
2-1.
I was behind the goal when you scored that.
2-1, and that was my debut down there. And he pulled me on the Monday with Tom Wally, and he said, "Did I hear you right? Did you say that you were shit on Saturday?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Rubbish." I said, "There's more to come." I said, I was embarrassed by the performance. Do you know what I mean? And he went, he said, "Listen, you're playing. You're my number 9. I've signed you. You're going to be playing for the next however long. Just relax. Go and enjoy it. You're playing Tuesday. You're playing Saturday."
How good was that for you? when you just told that.
Shit myself because it was shit.
No, but in terms of your confidence, you're very self. I mean, we even playing Sunday League, we were like, we were a bad game, even in Sunday League.
No, I was like, are you sure, Gaffer? Can you not change me? No, it's well, when someone's got your back, and I think it's like that in anything in life. You want to repair him from minute one. Before I kicked a ball, I wanted to repair him, just because of how he was as a man. You know, the telegram to my best man or to the venue. How did he know where I was getting married? I still to this day have not got a clue how he knew where I was getting married, because it was up the back of Beyond in Lancashire, in a tiny little village. And a telegram arrives on the day, and boom, you know, and the stuff that he did, flowers, you know, when my ex-wife had the little one, and vouchers for her, vouchers for her after we got married and stuff. And she still wanted all the money when we divorced.
That's just class,
But
but tight, isn't it? It's like
that's,
I said,
that's exactly what it is. But you know, you start looking at it and you're thinking, well, why are we not all like that? Why are we not all like that? Why does that stand out? Why, you know? And
that's why it touched so many people when he passed away.
It's a sad indictment on the human race, where I'm looking at maybe 10 managers that have played for her. He's the most humble, most respectful, most like my dad than any of them. And that's where it's at.
Well, I said to you guys, I've said this a million times, when our Cavendish school, secondary school up the road, and he was on the AstroTurf when they first built the AstroTurf, and everyone was running down, oh my God, it's Graham Taylor. And he said to me, you're Herbert Atkins' grandson. And I'm like, how do you know that? He knew my granddad from thing, but I sort of, I went for a stewarding thing as well, and I bought these two with it as well. And he said, good luck, son. I was like, who the hell, how the hell did you know I was going for a stewarding interview? Stuff like that, you know.
I think the little things that he did, I had to have a medical and stuff like that, and it seemed to take forever, and he settled me down really quickly. Little notes via the reception at the hotel, just a lot of things. Voice message, I think I said to you before.
Yeah.
The voice message was ridiculous. You know, when you have a minute or whatever to leave a message, you ended up using 2.5, and I never deleted it, and I was telling people, phone it, dial this code and listen to an England manager want to sign your son, to the old man and any of my mates. That's an England manager want to sign me. And
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's it. That's it. So it was a big, big miss, and it will be. And I've spoke to him since I left the club, and I'd get down to, I think, the last 2 for the under-18s job a few years ago. I'd done the A licence, like I said to you. I've been working with youth football, and we'd had a really good couple of seasons with Southport. We'd won the Conference North. My youth team had won the Youth League. We'd also played in an open age senior league, and we'd won that as well. We had a great season, great group of young lads, and I'd applied for the youth team job, and I spoke to the gaffer afterwards, and he'd said that if it was down to me, you'd have got the job. But there's the football club right there.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've sat, and you don't say things, and I'm a football man. I've done my badges. I teach, and sometimes you struggle to get anything. Jesus.
Yeah.
And there's good people not involved that could actually pass on quite a lot. And there's no other motivation for me than that. I work with special educational needs for a living. I don't do it for money. It's to, you might have a kid that you pass one thing on, and that's
it sticks, doesn't it?
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to do. A PE teacher is what I wanted to do if I wasn't playing football. And you get your finance in other ways in these kind of jobs. I get text messages from kids that have been on drugs and stuff, and they're doing better things. And then we have kids that are in prison that you think, it was just the path he was on. And but they're kids that have had real tough starts, and the football players they're brought up, and the backside's white for them, and good luck to them, but they are very, very lucky kids.
Well, people laughed when Martin Allen, when he was at Leicester, and think what a joke he was. But he brought them out to factories to see how normal people work. And he said, these people are on a minimum wage here, and then he got them working around the club and stuff, and they didn't like it.
You get them on a building site.
Yeah.
Now, it might sound ridiculous, but my son ended up getting released at Preston, and I'd spoke to him between his first year and his second year, and he'd had a decent first year, and I told him he had to, up the ante with the training and get about it, and it's education. If you're talking about a kid that you sign into a Premier League football club at 8-year-old and nothing other than eat, drink, and sleep and watch and play Xbox and play football, they have no understanding of what's going on. No. You have an obligation to say, right, look, this is what people do for a living. They do this for 40 years. Get up and down the ladders, pass that brick or paint that wall. It's not to be abusive to them. It's the complete opposite. It's to educate.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
And then, but you have the mamby-pamby bunny brigade that make knife crime what it is now, because we can't really tell them no when they're younger. Oh, I'll tell you what, have that. I have to have a knife sweep with my kids at 14-year-old. 85 times one of the kids has been arrested.
Well, it's like what Deanie and Gray's been through. Gray was in a gang, and when you go close to him now, he actually has a scar on the side of his face.
Got a scar,
from where someone's knifed him. And then Deanie, before he signed for us, and even when he did, it took him a few years to get to the level he is today. He's been in prison for assault. He was in for 6 months, and then but before that, he was saying all we wanted from the game was the money, and then prison completely changed his life around, and now he's the one go-to person for us now. And it's like, from what he was before to who he is now, it's a completely different person. And it's like, that's what the game's missing nowadays, the passion.
The honesty as well.
Yeah.
The honesty.
Yeah, I mean, I've get myself in trouble numerous times. But it's a big part of learning getting it wrong. There's nothing wrong with getting it wrong.
You got to get
so
it wrong
you bounce
to get
back
it right.
after as well.
It has to be your reaction, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've made some stupid decisions and made some stupid mistakes, but that's it. I've actually had the opportunity to go and make a mistake and say, you know what? It's not sometimes nothing better than going, no one will criticise me, no one will embarrass me, and stuff like that, because I give myself a hard time on the stupidity of stuff. And I think that's something where kids, or don't do that because that's what's going to happen, or let me tie them, or let me do that. And you're like, let them go and experience stuff. Let them go and make a mistake.
Let them learn the mistakes.
Let them go and you know what? Right, okay. It's not about being judge and jury and saying, oh, well, that's ridiculous. That's part of it. And I think that part's that's missing. And I think certainly young footballers now, there's not enough of, go and explore, go and experience other things, and it's all about wrap them up in cotton wool, make them prima donnas. They're totally out of touch. It's not their fault. It's the adults' fault.
Yeah, it's the cleaning the boots and the
100%. It's the adults' fault. The adults are just making it a mamby-pamby state, or lazy parents. Go and sit and play on the Xbox. Go and do that.
It's like the ones when we used to, like I said, back to Sunday League again, we used to go up Grove Hill, this is just around the corner from here, and you'd walk past there, the kids' football at the side, and then our Sunday League, and you get the dads, the one dad was like, I had a go at him, he's holding his kid going, look, you were crap, you played, why didn't you play? And I'm thinking, leave him alone, mate. And he's off, it's more so. And I'm thinking, I'd never do that to my boy. If he come and ask me, do you think I played well or something? Look, I'd be truthful with him, but I wouldn't slaughter him.
No.
I mean, it's like you lived it. You get some.
I don't get that. I mean, I used to say to Kai, that's my eldest son.
Yeah.
That if he wanted anything, he'd come and ask. If he wanted anything to do with football, if he wanted any information on that or anything, he'd come and ask. And I said that to him. It wasn't up to him to make a living out of football. It was down to me at the time. Yeah. What he decided to do was his business, but he had to have the passion for it. Yeah. The one thing we fell out about was a guitar. And he'll tell you that in 19. I went nuts when he because I wanted him to have the drive to try and get it right. The repetition.
Yeah.
And so from a young age, he said, you get your guitar lessons, and he chucked it too easy for me. And I think that sounds really quite hard hitting on him, but you kind of I learn a lot from that as a dad. What are you going to do? You're going to bounce? No, well, if I can't do it, you're just going to chuck it then.
Yeah,
So as a golfer or whatnot, I'd hit golf balls for fun. A footballer, I want to master it. I just have that sort of personality.
Lampard used to do that an hour or two after training, just put a line of balls, just keep hitting them, hitting them into the goal.
But you've got to want to do that. It's not his dad. His dad might be saying, you know what, Frank, you might want to look at that, and you might want to look at that. He's getting the information for what he's doing with.
Yeah.
So if you've got a kid that he's doing it for some other reason, or he's doing it for someone else, or she isn't doing it for themselves, and not got that passion about getting better, whatever it may be, it's never going to work.
No,
it's never going to work, because you have to have that.
Oh yeah,
that drive, that determination to go. Oh well, you know what? I've got that wrong. I've got to, and you're your own best coach.
Yeah. I just annoyed with, like I said, go back to that one where dads, some dads like live their careers through their failed careers through. I'm not saying yours are failed, but dads,
know what you mean.
Through the kids, and it's like, well, just if they don't want to do it. If I force my boy, say if he didn't like football, and I forced him to do it, it's no point because he wouldn't enjoy it anyway.
It comes to a point. You can only do so much.
Yeah.
And that's what my old man used to say to me. He said, "Oh look, ball comes across the face of the goal, and you're on the end of it. They don't care whether you slept, ate well. You know, at the end of the day, they want one thing to happen, and it's an unforgiving environment. So if you go into that unforgiving environment, you've actually got to want to do it.
Yeah.
Because a debut can be a slip on your ass, and it's the 90th minute, and the manager's under pressure, and you've just slipped, and they've just gone and scored, and the stadium goes."
Well, like Steven Gerrard did against Chelsea.
So if you think of that as a kid maybe making a debut, a mistake like that, because that's everybody walks a tightrope of having a beast centre forward on the halfway line. You've got to pass it back. You get it wrong. Kind of like the thing that happened at Man City, Spurs near the end. Where they nick the goal, but it gets disallowed on. But if that's a debutant doing that, and you're rolling it, oh no. I've been there on the halfway line, you're thinking, oh shit, for Christ's sake, don't score. That could be a kid making a debut, right?
Destroying.
You've got to have something to say, oh, well, I've got my practice, I've done that, I've done this 100,000 times. I'm good enough for it. Because that's the thing. You question yourself as a professional all the time.
Yeah, but that's the only way you can improve as well. If you just think you've done it and that's it, you're finished, that's when you really retire.
Well, that was
mentally as well.
That was the manager's biggest thing. That's the biggest thing he took. I would say that there's 100 things. I speak like him now, to be honest. At times, I feel myself repeating some things that he said, and I think, Jesus Christ. But that's a good thing. There's no finish line. Was his thing. There's no finish line, and it's such a true statement. And I think just as a person, you try and adopt that. That you get there, and then you want, and it can be my biggest strength and biggest weakness. It's my biggest feeling.
But they always say the biggest critic is yourself, isn't it? Yeah, no, but that's probably a good thing because you're not thinking you're fulfilled.
No, and that's Mrs. going, just enjoy the now, Alice. We're thinking not about tomorrow or the next thing. I'm like, I'm trying, but. No, but mine's always on the next thing.
Yeah, we want to do more.
Yeah, but we said.
Yeah, we do, and I've applied for a couple of jobs this summer and try to get back in coaching and whatnot because I've settled down into the area. And
is there anything you've looked at specifically?
A couple of non-league things just to help out with a few people and coaching. Just get back in. So on the CV out to a couple of clubs, and they'll probably go. DBSs and stuff like that. It can be quite interesting reading for someone.
He's been on TMA podcast, right? Get him in. Definitely.
I think when my DBS comes into the football club, I think they go, "Oh, jeez, got a bit of a charge sheet there." Well,
he scored at Wembley. Come on,
come on,
sort it out, lads. He played in the Premier League. He played at 1 or 2 grounds. Danny Iron saying, best player you've ever played with at Watford.
Best player at Watford. That's a good question. Because I think they were all sort of much for muchness, weren't we, as a group of individuals. difficult one that. There's no,
Yes,
you know why? Because I think that's what we were. We're probably all 7 out of 10. There's
Yeah.
no like prima donnas. No.
No, it worked hard, didn't you?
I just the person that I liked playing in front of was John. I liked the way
People
John
said that, didn't they?
Richard Johnson. I liked the way he played the game. I liked his enthusiasm for the game. But like I said to you previously, I respected Micah. So between them, it's neck and neck between Micah and Jono. Because Micah, like I said to you previously, he'd take the ball in every situation. You could be 2-3-0 down, and you talk about football bravery.
He wanted the ball all the time, didn't he?
And I think talent. As mentioned, Charlie Miller, him there, Norden Vuittoff. I mean, he was a magician. He was an absolute magician. So there's different blends. If you wanted a hard, there's what's missing in football. A Richard Johnson, modern day. That's what's lacking. That type of profile. So that profile there, brave, Micah, ability, him, Vuittoff. But they're all different blends.
Yeah.
You're wearing heart in your sleeve. You know, like we all loved Mooney as well.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy, exactly that. Tommy's Tommy was at left-sided centre back. I think when you got promoted, weren't you?
Yeah, 97, 98. Yeah, he converted him because he was a forward, then dropped in attacking midfield, then went back to centre back. He was brilliant. He was scoring goals from centre back.
Scored a lot of goals at left-sided centre back and coming onto the game. And I mean, for that 9-10 game period and the run into the playoffs, he was just Johnny on the spot. Everything that dropped in front of him, and then the season after we got relegated, I think did he hit 20-something goals?
And then he went to Birmingham.
He went to Birmingham, but I mean it was a fantastic season that season.
Yeah, but Vialli did a Bassett. I don't mention him too much, but he did a Bassett and got rid of half of the Taylor's lot.
Well, it was there under Vialli and did the pre-season and stuff like that. Quite complimentary behind the scenes. Ray was like that as well.
Oh right, yeah.
But you know that I was on the list, and it's not that I wanted to leave. I mean, far from it. And that's what I said to Vialli. Why would you want to leave? But if you're not wanted, I was from the generation that you couldn't tell me I was in your plans if I'm in the stand. So don't even bother. And that was I used to get the backup. Listen, if I'm with you, I'm on the pitch on a Saturday at 3 o'clock.
It is hard to tell a player. So if we confine you to the stands and say, oh, by the way, yeah, you are in my squad. It would be hard for them to sort of believe you.
Well, I went to Dundee United a few seasons after that. Charlie Miller was there, and Charlie had sort of spoke to him, and I'd signed a couple of years, and I'd gone there on a free, and I'd done every step of the pre-season, hadn't missed a game, and they signed Alan Goodlagson, and they signed him on the Friday before the game, the season started, and he puts Anna on the bench, and I'm in the stand. I was absolutely like a pressure cooker in my head, and I'm like, you know, and the annoyance. So we get a Monday morning, and I said, I need to have a word with you to the manager, and he said, oh, come in, and I said, no, I said, we need to go outside. We went into the stand, and I took him into the stand, and I just said, what the, you know, and I just said to him, what you doing that for? I said, you couldn't insult me anymore. I've done your pre-season, I've come in on a free, and I said, I must be the only fucking football player in the UK that's come into a club on a pre-season, done the whole lot, not been injured, and I said, you insult me with that, I don't fucking happen again. Or just, you know, get rid of that. And I'm thinking, gee, so from square one, and then you're on the bench, and that was that's probably my most horrific move. I spent a season on the bench and couldn't get in. So me and Charlie had played at 2 clubs together. Yeah. We started 0 games. He never started a game at Watford that I was in, and I never started a game at Dundee United that he played. I think maybe 1.
See, I like that. What you've done though, you took the manager to one side.
100%.
Some players would do it in front of the team.
I used to go and speak to the gaffer as well.
Yeah,
I used to go and say that, and I'd never ever say anything about any other players. I'd never ever do that. I'd just say, listen, I'm ready to go. You know, I was fortunate. I was never out his team very much. To be fair, I was never out his squad.
Well, he just showed respect. At least
and I'd always knock on the door and say, look, I'm feeling all right. Once I got to know him, I had that relationship with him. Gaffer, am I right? And he said, well, I come to watching the reserves. He said, who else do you think I was watching? I went, look, I appreciate you saying that. He said, well, I know where you're at.
Yeah.
he said, "You're not far away," and we just have a chat. And I said, "Look, you know, I've just come in to say I'm feeling where I'm at, because sometimes you go and go, I mean, in another couple of weeks yet, I'm struggling here.
Yeah.
Just give me another 10 days or whatever."
Yeah. Absolutely, mate.
Good relationship.
We're going to wrap up in a second, mate. But
Yeah, because it's,
mate,
it's line of duty, isn't it?
it's line of
Yeah.
duty. Line of duty.
God,
Yeah.
I know it's good. I don't watch it. I
Line
don't
of
watch a
duty,
lot
it's
of
the
telly, mate.
last in the series.
It's been amazing. Hour and a half
Thank you,
of
Alan.
absolute
Thank you
fun,
very
mate.
much.
Honestly, mate. Right, just before we go, Lee Evans, not the comedian, has just messaged me once again with the results for the girls' teams. Just remember, for more information, still at the moment, go to www.watfordfcgirls.com. We've got a few results, just quickly shout out, and then we'll get wrapping. Right, okay, so Watford girls under-9s yellows and greens faced each other in their final match of the season, and a fitting way to end of the year. A great fun game, and all enjoyed by the players. The under-10s were at home to Ruislip and played out a tough, exciting encounter, and both teams were excellent, so well done the under-10s. We've got the under-12s won Hearts FA Challenge Cup at the County Ground in Letchworth, defeating Garston Ladies Leopards 12-1. Go under 12s, well done. Bit of silverware, bit more silverware for me to bring round. We've got the under 14s won 4-2 at home to Kinja FC. The under 15s won a friendly match away after extra time, to AFT Diamonds with a 4-0 scoreline. The under 18s were today confirmed as the Greater London Women's League Division 3 champions. Fantastic under 18s. Their final game is on the 26th of May, and it's their game in hand over second placed East London Ladies, who have played all their fixtures. Another fantastic achievement by the club. Right, okay, the club has now this season achieved 4 league titles, 3 Hearts FA County Cup wins, and still 4 League Cup finals to play next Saturday. We're very proud of obviously very proud of the players, teams and the players. So well done, girls, so far, and hopefully some more very shortly. Girls, fantastic efforts as always. Today we successfully and finally successfully held the first of 2 days of our summer tournament at Sun Postal. The under 9s, under 10s, under 8s, under 9s, under 10s, and under 12 teams all came to take part in the tournament. And tomorrow we'll see the under 13s, under 14s, under 16s, and open age teams take part. So thank you for all the teams that come along and supporting the club. So cheers, guys. That's absolutely brilliant. Lee, thank you ever so much once again. Just remember, visit www.ashbysainteve.com for your superhero t-shirts and souvenirs. There's a wide range of Watford t-shirts on there. Hopefully soon we'll message Jim Cook. We'll get a Mr. Allan Smart t-shirt coming very soon.
I also want to do my Kilimanjaro plug as well.
Yes, quickly do that, mate, and then we'll wrap it up. No, we've got to definitely do that one, mate. Sorry.
I'll upload that one, the old Kilimanjaro thing.
No, but please get giving for the Kilimanjaro.
If you don't mind. Every pound's a prisoner and going to a good cause. So cancer research
UK, isn't it?
Had a few. I think probably like everybody, we've got a few people somewhere along the line that will have unfortunately succumbed. I think it's 1 in 2 statistically will have it. So I have a few friends that have not made it through the fight. So yeah, that's the plight. So if you don't mind, if you don't, I don't know, just any pound helps.
Please get giving, guys. We've put the link, we will continue putting the link on the forum. So please, the 99 squad are involved with this. They are, aren't they?
They've done very well with it, you know. So right, he's already been up there.
He's already beaten.
Right, he's done it. So
he scores the overhead kick, and now
I was up at his house, and that's what I said. I am quite literally following in your footsteps. You know, second goal scorer, second man up, second man of that squad up to the top.
There'll be a flag up there saying I've done it first.
Yeah, there will be. 2 fingers. Yeah.
Mick Hucknall's been here.
And he said, "Oh, and I raised £10,000 for charity," and I'm saying, "Oh, £10,000 and a penny."
You ain't been on the TMA podcast and plugged it as well. So there's
a first for you.
That's it, exactly. Right, so guys, we'll see you Thursday night as always, 8 to 8:30. We have got myself and the young man on. We'll be chatting West Ham coming up, the game just before a certain game happening at Wembley. Apparently, we don't know what's happening there, but we will tell you shortly. But guys, like we said before, thank you ever so much. Tell all your friends, tell Moobs' friends. He's not happy. We've only got 14 100 people on this forum. We need at least 2,000. We've had this legend on tonight. We've had Scotty Fitzgerald, we've had Jono, we've had Kennedy, Mr. David Holdsworth himself. We had many legends already on here, guys. So please get sharing and get us talking on the forum. So we will see you Thursday night. So it's good night from him.
It's good night from him.
Good night.